Cavalier Clash 7 wrapped up this weekend in Charlottesville, Virginia, and despite only having 318 entrants, it might be one of the most unforgiving Supermajors we've ever seen. When a bracket is this small, there's no easing in, and every set matters immediately. And that pressure is seen clearly if we look at the top 8. Half of the players weren't even seeded to be there, clear sign that this bracket didn't follow expectations for long. When a Supermajor is this compact, there's less room for error and fewer safe rounds stabilized. But the warning signs started way earlier than that. The chaos didn't wait for top 64, it showed up in pools. Before we even reached top 64, we saw a wave of early upsets that reshaped the bracket. Strong seeds were being tested immediately, and some didn't survive long enough to ever reach their projected paths. In a smaller field like this, pools aren't just a formality, they're a minefield. This wasn't just random volatility. It was the natural outcome of a Supermajor where the competition ramps up instantly, and every round feels like it's a phase too early. Before we get into the upsets, there's one thing we need to establish. What is SPR? SPR stands for Seed Performance Rating. Basically, how much worse or better a player performed compared to where they were seeded. A higher SPR means a bigger upset. This matters a lot more at an event like Cavalier Clash 7, because with fewer entrants, one early upset can ripple through the entire bracket. Now that we've established what SPR is, here's a quick example of how wild this bracket could be, even outside of the headline upsets. Choco Croc, a Yoshi main, fell to Tweak early in the bracket, but then put together an impressive losers run. Picked up 3 straight upsets over Ameno, Oolong, and CJ Frozen before finally being stopped by Omega. Finishing 33rd as the 119th seed for an SPR plus 3, Choco Croc's run is a great snapshot of how unforgiving this event was, and a preview of the chaos to come. And Choco Croc wasn't an exception. The early rounds at Cavalier Clash were setting off warning signs. As early as Winners Top 256, we saw multiple upset Factor 4 results. D3 Will over Mr. E, Duke over Rap, and shortly after, Platinum V taking down Siski in Winners Top 128. These weren't bracket breaking on their own, but they were strong wins, and more importantly, they showed that higher seeds were getting tested immediately. But once we reached Winners Top 128, the upsets stopped being subtle. In Winners Top 128, Alternist, a Little Mac main, stunned Cola, sending the top 16 seed into losers early. Around the same time, Pitaya, the Kazuya main from New Jersey, knocked out Gluttony, both of these coming in as upset factor 5. Then, the craziest upsets of the event would occur. Still in Winners Top 128, Smash Bros, a Lucas main from New Jersey, defeated Spargo, the number 5 player in the world and the best player in North America, in a tight Game 5 set. That's an upset factor of 8, one of the biggest of the entire event. And it wouldn't be the last, because in Winners Top 32, Raflo took down Mia, the number 1 seed, also for an upset factor of 8, sending Mia into the losers bracket far earlier than expected. That single win completely reshaped the bracket, and more importantly, it funneled Raflo into a top 8 finish at Cavalier Clash 7. Once we looked at how the top 8 played out, you can just see how much these early upsets mattered. Starting us off at 7th is Raflo, who put together one of the most impressive runs of the weekend. He picked up wins over players like Willie and Alternus before taking down Mia 3-1 in Winners Top 32. That win set him up against Shuton, where he fell 3-0 and was sent into the losers bracket. From there, Raflo wasn't done. He picked up another crucial win over Cola to punch his ticket into top 8 before ultimately falling to Tweak. Finishing 7th as the 17th seed, Raflo was the lowest seeded player to make top 8 at Cavalier Clash 7. Also finishing at 7th is Mia, who opened his run with wins over 9 Super Pi and Arc D before being upset by Raflo in Winners. Dropped into losers, Mia mounted a strong run of his own, taking 3 straight sets over Jazzo, Zamba, and Syrup. That run would come to an end against Akola, where Mia was eliminated in a close Game 5 set, settling for 7th place. When Tweak talks, you listen, and he made a statement with a 5th place finish at Cavalier Clash. He opened his runs with win over Izuka and Anarchy before falling to Peanut with a 3-1 loss. Sent into losers, Tweak went on a tear, winning 4 straight sets. He swept both Mpopo and Spargo 3-0, then closed out wins over Toon and Raflo 3-1. His run would end with a second loss to Peanut, locking in a strong 5th place finish. Joining Tweak at 5th is Shuton, who put together a solid run through Winners. He picked up wins over CJ Frozen and Mpopo, scored a slight upset over Zamba, and then defeated Raflo before falling to Ashimo in Winners semis. Sent into losers, Shuton faced Akola in a close Game 5 set, where his run would come to an end, finishing at 5th place. At 4th place, we have Peanut, the highest placing North American player at Cavalier Clash 7. He put together an incredible run on the winner's side, picking up wins over Squid Plumber, Endothea, and Tweak, before stunning Akola with a dominant 3-0 victory. and that run would be stopped by Hurt in winners semis in a close Game 5 set, but dropped into losers, Peanut would defeat Tweak once again before falling to Aquila in a Game 5 run back to finish 4th. Peanut has been on a tear throughout 2026, placing top 4 at every major he's attended so far, and at this point it's fair to ask, is Peanut making a case as the best player in North America? Finishing at 3rd is Aquila, who started his run with wins over Solarts, Chugs, and Shiny Mark before getting blown up by Peanut in a shocking 3-0 in winners. Sent into losers, Aquila flipped the switch. He won 4 straight sets, starting with Atomic, then survived 3 consecutive Game 5s, taking out Mia, Shuton, and a run-back win over Peanut. His run would finally end against Hurt in another Game 5, where Aquila opted for Mr. Game & Watch instead of his usual Steve. Finishing as the runner-up at Cavalier Clash 7 is Ashimo, who put together an outstanding winner's side run. Picked up wins over Blue, Omega, Phantom, Toon, and Shuton, before edging out Hurt in a Game 5 to secure a spot on Grands in the winner's side. There, Ashimo would fall to Hurt in 2 straight sets, finishing the event in 2nd place as the 12th seed, one of the strongest overperformances of the tournament. And when it was all said and done, Hurt stood on top as the champion of Cavalier Clash 7. He put together a dominant run through bracket, picking up early wins over Vanchi and Microwave before surviving a scary Game 5 against PK Chris in winners top 64. From there, Hurt took his stride, taking down Storm, Syrup, and Peanut to reach winners finals, where he was handed his first loss by Ashimo. Dropped into losers, Hurt answered back, defeating Aquila in losers finals and winning 2 consecutive sets over Ashimo in grand finals to secure the title. When you zoom out, Cav Clash 7 tells us a lot about where competitive Smash is headed in 2026. This wasn't just a weird bracket, it was an event that punished mistakes immediately and rewarded players who could adapt on the fly. In a smaller super major like this, there's no warm-up phase. Top players were forced into high-pressure sets far earlier than usual, and the ones who survived weren't necessarily the most dominant, they were the most flexible. We also saw some early warning signs. For Mia, this marks the 2nd major in a row where expectations didn't line up with the result. That doesn't erase his dominance, but it does raise questions about consistency in these faster, more volatile brackets. And it wasn't just one player. Both Zamba and Syrup missing top 8 came as a surprise to many, especially given how often they've been fixtures in late brackets throughout 2025. On the European side, the results were just as telling. Gluttony finished 33rd, the lowest placement among EU's top representatives at the event, while Siski placed 25th and Popo reached 17th, and Raffalo broke through top 8. It's a small sample, but it hints that Gluttony's long-standing dominance over Europe may finally be slowing down. The takeaway isn't that the meta is random, it's that consistency alone isn't enough anymore. In 2026, early round readiness, matchup confidence, and adaptation are starting to matter just as much as raw peak performance. So as 2026 moves forward, the real question is who can stay dominant when the bracket gives them no time to breathe. If you enjoyed this kind of recap, liking the video and subscribing really helps. It lets me know to make more breakdowns like this. And let me know in the comments, who impressed you the most at Cav Clash 7?